What a horrible episode. Episode 8 of Sentenced to be a Hero. We only got to see Terata one time, and she was sleeping. I'm mostly joking here, but I do like my weekly dose of Terata. She's an absolute dorkball, and she brightens my week. What am I going to say? But I do have to admit, it does seem odd that Terata wasn't involved in the entire episode, because what did they open up the episode talking about? We just got attacked, ambushed. So somebody on the inside here is leaking information to the bad guys, and so we can't trust anybody. They're like, who do we trust? We can't trust anybody. And then what happens? They have to entrust somebody with Terata because we leave her behind and go walking around the town. It's like, who's watching Terata this entire time? What's going on here? I'm assuming, I don't know, maybe Tatsuyo's watching her or something. Obviously, Venetim, Dota, Jace, it didn't seem like they were. Maybe they left Jace when they went into the town. But anyways, jokes aside. Decent episode overall. I think this is probably one of the weaker episodes of the entire series. I did like getting more into Kivia and her family. It obviously implies the uncle is tied in with some nasty people based on what Venetim was saying. But yes, we also got quite a bit of look into Dota, which does open a massive can of worm around the royal family, which we need to get into. So I guess we should start with that, because Dota's backstory is kind of linked in with the entire story here, but it seems to be the most important thing to really dig into here. But yes, at some point during the episode, Xylo ropes Dota into going to kidnap this dude, and it seems like Dota doesn't like the idea of kidnapping people because it went bad last time. And Jace also mentioned the fact that Dota fed his arm to a dragon, and so that's all tied in with the backstory, which is the sentencing of Dota, which we find out during the conversation of this sentencing that they're missing a really important part of his sentencing. I like the fact that Dota's like, okay, yes, you're being charged for escaping prison and kidnapping or stealing a dragon. And he's like, and? Wait, you're missing the most important one out of all of it. It's like the guy that's being sentenced and, he's in the courtroom. He's like, Judge, you forgot that I ran 5 red lights and, oh yeah, I slashed some tires too. And I stole a candy bar. You forgot those parts of it. It's like he's just adding to his charges. It makes sense, again, because it does seem like he wants to get somebody to help this prince. That, yes, apparently at some point Dota was escaping prison. He ran into this kid, or maybe it implies the fact that he was allowed out. Or anyways, either way, he was confronted by this prince, the prince of the kingdom itself. And the prince was very, very concerned. And it implies that Dota helped him out because specifically he looked weak and he needed help. He looked desperate. He lacks the ability to deny somebody like that, which does make me wonder if potentially he did see Terata when she was inside the coffin and specifically stole her because she looked weak and vulnerable and needed help. I wonder, it would imply that he had to have seen her, like physically seen her, or known that she was in there, which I think it really told us later on that he didn't know that she was in there. He just stole it. He got sticky fingers. Anyways, that aside, it does imply the fact that whenever Dota sees somebody in danger or needs help, he can't help but want to help them. And sure enough, when this prince came to him and said, please help me, my family's acting weird, father, the king, is acting off, something's going on, there's all changed, there's something going on, please get me out of here, I finally got away, please help me get out of here. And Dota wanted to help him. And so he went to apparently kidnap a dragon, which implies to me that he didn't feed the hungry dragon his arm, like Jace was saying. He may have just bit him while he was trying to get the dragon to help them get out of there. But they got caught. And now, when he's being sentenced, they're not even mentioned in this, which implies that they don't want anybody to know that the prince tried to escape, and that the prince said this stuff. And now Dota, in this frantic state, is like, wait, you guys, he needs help. Somebody help him. He came to me, a lowly thief. He came to me for help, and I couldn't help him. You guys got to help him. Something's going on. The royal family, something's going on in there. And they shut him up. But specifically saying that they essentially want to get him sentenced to be a hero, and that the individuals that decided this or suggested this was a Central Noble Alliance. Which typically with like all these kind of settings, obviously the Central Noble family is going to probably be, our noble families are going to be like, there's going to be a group that's going to be high up, and they're going to be very tied in with the royal family. That's probably the Central Noble Alliance, is that group. And yes, the obvious direction it seems like we're going here is that, and it doesn't have to be specifically this, but assuming it's going to be that the Central Noble Alliance probably has individuals within it that are probably, wanting to coexist with the Blight, and they have probably infiltrated the royal family. And yes, based on the fact that the family seems to be acting different. The prince said that the royal family, all of them are acting different. They've changed. That potentially, yes, they are corrupted or are being manipulated by this blight. So now we're seeing potentially something similar to what's going on with the temple, that we have the blight itself is infiltrating the royal family as well. Now, it could be something else. It could just be specifically, yeah, you have the temple is getting infiltrated by the blight, and over here, the royal family, you just have, somebody's utilizing some sort of hypnotism or some sort of spell or curse to manipulate the family. We're going that whole story there. Very often happens in these types of stories is, oh, the royal family is being manipulated and the king is not himself. He's being a puppet of somebody else. Shrug. But still, interesting little kind of information to add to here. It seems like this kingdom is screwed. Can we just put a fork in this kingdom is screwed? We have the I'm assuming it's the three branches, right? You have the temple, you have the military, and then you have the royalty. And you basically have, so far, two of them is being infiltrated by the blight. Potentially the military is already there as well, but you have one more branch is left not being infiltrated by the blight, and so it's screwed. Put a fork in it. Silo, you might as well leave this kingdom behind. It's done. It's over with. But yeah, little interesting backstory into Dota. Kind of give him a little bit more character. Seems like a cool dude. Again, that he wouldn't be willing to let somebody that is in danger be left alone. He's gonna help him out. He's cool, bro. Let's go, bro. Outside of that, though, the rest of the episode, I guess we should go to the episode proper and kind of go through it again, mostly around Kivia, eventually getting into a little bit of a harem fight. Harem fight. But yes, we open up the episode with the introduction of the uncle of Kivia. We have this little meeting saying that they got ambushed, somebody here we can't trust. And then, yes, eventually they go to check what the uncle, Marlin, has to say. And then the uncle says, yes, I don't think we can get in with the 12th Order to, investigate this whole situation, find out who's the traitor. So we're just going to have to work with what we got. And eventually, at some point, Kivia, blaming herself for losing the assassins and not being able to question them, he's kind of giving her a little bit of advice, which you find out why later on. It does seem like he's kind of supporting her. But yeah, interesting here. Xylo speaks up, and yeah, normally this would be seen as a little bit of a bad thing for him to do. Xylo says, I'm sorry, I normally wouldn't do this, but this is important information. We need to look into the Adventure Guild. The guy accepts it, says, yes, the way that you spoke is really good. You can learn a lot from this guy. He seems like a cool guy. Ain't gonna happen. Ain't gonna happen. This guy's totally gonna be a bad guy. And that's based on the fact that, yes, he seems like he's too cool. Any other member of the temple, these individuals, they all look down like a lot on the heroes. They are like worse than dirt. They are scum. And this guy is accepting what Xylo says. He seems like a cool guy. Even after later on when Xylo leaves, after they look into this, Venture Guild guy, even as he's leaving, Venetum confronts him and says, what'd they say? Nothing. Seems like a cool dude. Did they add anything? I was thinking they were going to add something to our punishment or something like that. No, he was very easygoing, very cool guy. Venetum's wasn't really accepting this information too well, and that's some red flags right there, because we've dealt with members of the temple before, and we've never had Venetum look this uncomfortable. Venetum is very shook up by this guy, specifically this guy. Doesn't seem like he's too happy about this guy being, in this area and them having to converse with him. So it makes me believe that specifically this guy is bad news. Now, I would question why Venetum knows specifically the High Priest Marlin. And I think that might potentially be because he's touching his neck. I'm wondering if it's because High Priest Marlin is here and he's going to talk about High Priest Marlin, that suddenly his, the inscription is starting to affect him. And he's realizing, oh, if I can't talk about High Priest Marlin specifically, and something's happening to me, that implies to me that he's in with this group. I'm suddenly not able to talk about him. There's got to be a connection there. So that makes me believe, or again, based on the fact that Venetum might just know information about Marlin himself, that makes me believe that Marlin's probably tied in with the group that is the Blight people. The ones that want to, coexist with the Blight. The people that have infiltrated the temple, and thus he's not going to be a good guy. Which really does suck, because as we see later on with Kivia, they do the whole thing where she dresses up. How do I look? Don't say I look like a man again. No, you look like a noble woman that has a lot of quarters coming after her. Blush. As they go on their little mission to, try to infiltrate the Adventure Guild and find somebody that's a hitman, at some point he asks Kivia, why'd you join the military? Why do you ask? Well, you look like you're from a well-off family. Why would you bother joining the military where you're going to be in danger and everything? And this seems to be around the idea that, yes, her family, her parents, are people that kind of just soak up from the temple. They just do their donations, they get a lot of benefits and everything, and she doesn't like it. Kivia doesn't like the fact that they're just kind of mooching off the temple and currying favor and all that kind of stuff. It just doesn't seem like a good life and noble life to live. So she wanted to kind of venture out on her own, so she decided to join the military. And it does seem like her uncle supported her in this. Got her a sword and everything, gave her tips and everything. And even again, in that first meeting, is even still giving her suggestions. Yeah, don't beat yourself up about the whole situation. It's not going to improve anything. He seems like a cool guy. And despite the fact that it seems like he supports Kivia, it might imply the fact that he's doing the same damn stuff, just in different ways. He's corrupt in his own way, just not in the way that Kivia disliked about her parents. He's corrupt in a way that he is, again, infiltrating the temple with potentially the group of the people that want to coexist with the Blight. So, again, it all kind of sucks. Kivia's one supporter is a bad person. Big shocker, right? The guy that seems like a cool guy is actually a bad guy. Shrug. It's a bummer, but yeah, outside of that, we got a little bit of introduction to Lydio. Yeah, Lydio Sodric, who is, again, the leader of the Adventure Guild. I like how they kind of get a little bit into the Adventure Guild itself and the history of it. Gives a little lore to it, and the idea that this guild was originally designed to fight off the evil pirates in this area. And then they're like, yeah, that's probably just some stupid made-up story. It was just probably a turf war, and they won. And in the end, they get to write the history books and say how great of people they are and how they saved everybody. But no, they're actually really, really corrupt. And yeah, we get to see that in the fact that we get to see Lydio talking to Shiji and Bujum. And yes, apparently has child assassins. This guy seems to, get together children and teach them how to be loyal assassins, and they're really terrible, as we see at the very end. I think most people, again, that put their guard down for the kids would probably be killed, but yeah, it doesn't seem like they do much against Kivia and Xylo and his fiancée, Frenchie. But yeah, we get a lot of spouting back and forth between Shiji and Lydio and Bujum. Bujum's over here like, I just want more books. I think that was the same poet or book author, whatever, that Xylo was reading, which I kind of wonder if there's like a connection there. Interesting. But yeah, Xylo and Kivia end up infiltrating the Adventure Guild, do a really horrible job. Kivia's acting. I want to find somebody to kill somebody. I need to get rid of this man so I can be with the one that I love. It's such a horrible job. I'm sorry. She's very pampered. We're trying to find somebody that could take somebody out. Sure enough, his fiance Frenchie has to walk up and save his butt. That whole scene in that room together, we're pouring on the harem real hard in this episode with Kivia and Frenchie fighting over Xylo. Now, initially it was like they seemed to be fighting over him because the idea that Frenchie's like, Xylo, you absolute moron. What are you doing? You're lucky I saved you. And Xylo's over here like, no, we were fine. And Kivia's like, yes, our plan was perfect. We're going to cause a disturbance. And then our friend's going to go in there and get the information we need. No, you guys are absolutely idiots. Yeah, I know he's kind of dumb. Oh yeah, he is really dumb. And they start like bonding over. He's like, please stop bonding over insulting me. It was a goofy little bit. And again, as usual, I like Frenchie. Yeah, a little bit of the, the berating that she's doing of Xylo is getting a little annoying. She's a bit too much of the you're scum, dirtbag, idiot, stupid constantly, but I like her. I still like her. She hasn't gotten too far for me. Yes, eventually they get attacked by the kids and some dude with a massive railgun just pulling like a predator thing here, just mowing down the entire room. Exactly what Xylo wants. And so now apparently Xylo's getting really excited to just destroy everything. A very interesting little kind of jarring side of Xylo at the end there. I have been noticing over the last few episodes, there is a lot of sides to Xylo's character. Like, he's not just the, grumpy guy that doesn't want to head pat Tiretta anymore. It does seem like he has different personalities that are jumping into him. The idea of wanting to help people. Even here, it's like he wants to protect the people. Oh, an excuse to clean this place up. He wants to help improve the area because he's obviously seeing that there's a lot of scumbaggery happening in this place. But yeah, he's all excited about the idea of just causing massive chaos. Like seeing Frenchie in action too. Good to see that she can handle herself really well. Hopefully we'll see more of her in the next episode as well. But I think that's pretty much it. It's, again, not an insanely deep episode. Not really too much to talk about here besides, again, the royal family itself seemingly being corrupted. A little bit of insight into Kivia and her uncle. And that's about it. Anyways, that's my thoughts on the episode. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, if you did, hit the like button down below. If you like this content and you want to support the channel more, become a member. Until next time, y'all take care.